Welcome to the Cashflow Project podcast. Are you looking to better your financial situation by increasing your cash flow? Too busy to hunt for real estate deals or don't know where to start? Then you're in the right spot. Join us as we dive in and talk about investing for cash flow using multifamily real estate.
Welcome to the Cashflow Project podcast. I'm your host, Steve Carroll with Tri-City Equity Group. Excited for another episode this week. Today's guest is DJ Carroll. So he's a serial entrepreneur. He's a founder of Carroll Media Group and a guy who turned a frustration with expensive advertising into a multi-million-dollar business. After selling his first company at $3 million in revenue, DJ built Carroll Media into a global ad tech firm, helping small businesses generate leads through social media. He's delivered incredible value increases, percentage increases, and lead traffic for clients. He also holds multiple millions of dollars in real estate. So we can dive into a little bit of that with him here on the episode. He was named the top entrepreneur in 2024 by USA Today. He's just coming fresh off of a book tour. So I know we're going to talk about that as well. So we're excited to have him in. DJ, welcome to the show.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me in. Excited to be here, spend some time with you and your listeners, and let's get it in. Let's get it in, man. I'm ready to go.
No, awesome. Yeah, no, I love your energy too. And again, I know you're just coming back in. I know you recorded a bunch today, and so I appreciate you taking time with me, with our listeners, to kind of share some of the lessons that you've gleaned in helping other clients and own personal experience, right? So I love people who are in the trenches, not just telling people what to do kind of based off of a book, but you've actually been there, right? And I feel like there's no more valuable experience than taking the bumps and bruises, being in the field, doing the work. It's just lessons that you learn being there that you can't get anywhere else. But for those of our listeners, beyond that brief intro, I know that's not doing you justice, but for those of our listeners that may not be familiar with you, fill us in a little bit of your background. How did you get started into entrepreneurship, into business? We'd love to get a little bit more of a deeper dive with that.
Yeah, appreciate it. My senior year of high school, I turned on 8 football scholarships. My chemistry teacher, my guidance counselor was like, "What are you doing?" My mom and dad were also kind of like, "You're supposed to be the smart kid that goes to school. What are you doing?" Started mowing grass, and by my end of my senior year of high school, I was making about $4,000 a month, basically co-oping for myself. It's always a funny story. All the kids would sign out, and they'd go to the factories or the offices in town to do their co-oping. And I always made the joke that I signed both sides of the co-op book for the student and the boss. And that was the business. I grew to about $3 million in revenue. Again, don't get too excited. It's lawn care. They don't trade on crazy high multiples like software does. And yeah, man, since then I've bought, sold businesses. I'm just an entrepreneur through and through. One of my very first real estate deal that I did was the first house I bought when I was 21, $34,000. It was a 2-bedroom, 1 bath, and God bless Kentucky. I don't think you can find $35,000 houses anymore anywhere. But
parking spaces go for more here. I'll be honest with you, here in Honolulu.
Yeah, I bought that, and it needed a ton of work, man. It was like the plaster on the slat walls, and lived in that and kind of house hacked it, as you say, and lived there a couple of years and then moved out and essentially rented it out. And I've done flips, I've done rentals, I've syndicated. Obviously now I've got millions of dollars worth of real estate that we've syndicated with guys out of Chicago, and it's been fun, man. Honestly though, the real estate deal that taught me the most was my fitness center. I bought a gym when I was 27 from kind of money that I'd made in my blue collar business. And man, that was rough. That one was a lesson learned. I had a real estate agent that came in and basically took me to the cleaners. I had too much ego and not enough knowledge. And so I didn't run any of the paperwork by an attorney. Was supposed to be in there, wasn't in there. And long story short, at 27 years old, I lost $500,000 worth of real estate and a 6-figure business. And real estate's fun until it's not, I always like to say. We've got great partners now. I've got a great property manager that manages the portfolio for me. And my main focus, I don't really actively buy anything. I haven't bought anything in years now, but because my focus is in building our AI platform. But I think real estate's great. There's always a deal to be had, man. You can open up Zillow and I could find you a house that you could flip. I could find you especially with the new regulations. If you're trying to get into the game, you ought to be buying a 4-plex, man, putting the 5% down, live in one of the units. That's, to me, I'm like, holy smokes. I don't know why more people don't do that. But yeah, man, I'm excited to be here. I've read a ton of books, got a ton of learned knowledge and a ton of lived knowledge. Just hoping to share that with your listeners while we hang out and jam for the time that we got.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I definitely want to dive into some of the AI tech, but just to go back to what you were sharing about the fitness center, I'm curious, was that something that actually got to close and it was just post-close legal issues, or was it more on the operations side because obviously there's so many dynamics
I
to
love this, dude. Actually, I don't think I've ever, I talk about the story in the book, but not in details. I've actually never shared this. Normally it's just something we talk about and go on. So I've had the way that the deal came to me was I was a member of the gym, and the guy in town that owned it, it was called Watsy's House of Iron. And it's in this 20,000 person like community, right? So I'm like, dude, you can't be a meathead gym in like a town of 20,000 people. And so he did really well when he was in his little shopping center, pretty rough looking space. And like he made money. And so like he got an SBA loan. He built out this big 5,000 plus square foot facility with a living quarters in the back. And like, it was really cool. And so then he started losing money, and he came to me. He's like, "Hey, you're like one of the only entrepreneurs in town like that would be interested in this. Can we do a deal?" And so I was like, "Yeah, man, I'll give you 25 grand for the equipment, and you owner finance me the building, and we'll go talk to the bank, and I'll just make the payment straight to them for you every month. And it's like, you'll be free and clear. Let me get this thing stabilized, cash flow positive, and then like I'll refinance it and get you off of it." And he was like, "That's fine, whatever you need to do, man, because otherwise like the bank's coming to take it." And we're like, "All right, cool." And the bank was happy to see me. They're like, "Hell yes, you'll make the mortgage." Because like, contrary to what everybody believes, the bank does not want your assets.
Yes,
they would much rather you just pay the mortgage. And so we went in, dude. I rebranded it to Elite Fitness. We repainted it. We did a school membership co-op deal with the local high school, so that if you were a student athlete, you got a discounted rate. We added a supplement store. We private labeled supplements in our own apparel. It was cranking, dude. It was rocking. And then in walks Jerry, the real estate agent. And he's like, "I got a client that's looking for a building like this." And I was like, "I'm an entrepreneur, so all my shit's for sale. How much you want to pay me for it?" Right? And basically he said, "Hey, this deal needs to stay confidential." And I was like, "Hey, man, totally get that. I think it needs to stay confidential too." My whole plan here, Steve, was that I was basically going to sell the real estate to his clients, and then take the gym business that I had built up at the other gym in town and be like, "Here you go, man. You can buy all my members and my equipment."
Gotcha.
By the time I got around to getting to having the conversations to the other gym, his buyer, which was a church, basically was like, "Hey, Elite Fitness is closing down. We're going to be moving into their brand new facility. We're super excited about it." And so then you're in a small town. It spread like wildfire. We had half the members drop their membership because like, "You're closing. I'm just going to go ahead and move to the other gym." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh." And so then obviously my deals with the other gyms fell apart. I couldn't sell the equipment in the business because they were closing. Right. And we ended up having to give the real estate deal. I gave it back to the owner that I bought it from, because I was like, "I'm not closing. This guy just pulled a quick one on me. He wasn't supposed to say anything. He crashed my deal. I'm not selling it to him. You can sell it to him." Right. I walked away from the building, and then I took a bath on I owed probably 18 grand on the equipment. But I'll tell you something, man. I pride myself in this. I did not default on that loan. I've never defaulted on a loan. I carried that loan with me for another 36 months and paid it off out of the proceeds of my other businesses, because it was on principle. And so we tried to sue the guy, but didn't go. My attorney was not, I didn't pay him enough, right? He wasn't a sharp enough attorney. He didn't dot some I's, cross some T's. And so basically the judge threw it out. And that's the story of Elite Fitness, man.
Wow. So, okay. So a lot of this could have been avoided with, let's say, an NDA or something similar, just being in the transaction, obviously with somebody more astute on the legal side. I love to mine for so many entrepreneurs, so many investors over the years, right? It's like, everybody loves to tout the successes, right? Because those are fun, or those are easy. But it's like, this is the flip side of the coin that I feel like, man, like everybody, like we all know it. Everybody who's tried something, you failed.
I don't want to do business with you if you didn't, right? Because I'm like, I'm not going to be the first one, right? If you want me to be in awe of your success, tell me all the stories that I just shared with mine there, right? Tell me the stuff that you screwed up and how it went wrong, because then that tells me you've actually got the reps in place to know what you're talking about.
Yeah. No, I'm even just listening to your story. I'm like, okay, market size, that's one thing. We've, learned that one painfully also, right? It's, hey, look, don't try to do something if the market size doesn't justify it, right? This is part of looking at a larger macro picture, right? Okay, what do the economics of the market dictate? Hey, can the population, can the income level, all of that, can that support what it is that you're trying to do, right? So there's a bunch of takeaways, right? Finding the proper legal. But on the positive side, go ahead, sorry.
This was nothing more than spit on your hand and a handshake. For this guy, he was an old school realtor. He told me when he was like, "Yeah, we got to keep it confidential until the close." I thought that meant staying confidential till the close. But what happens is like, that's why you need non-disclosure agreements, and you've got to get your paperwork tight, because then when to sue him, it was a he said, she said thing, right? Now, the beauty was, we deposed him on recorded camera, and holy shit, I saw the real guy come out, because he was accusing me of like all kinds of wild stuff. And he was like, I'm pretty sure your attorney put you up to this, insulting my attorney and stuff. And he was like, dude, this is going to crush it in court. My attorney was like, hey, we're going to trial on this one. There's no settling, bro. We'll roast this guy. But what ended up happening was there was and this is a good lesson for your listeners to learn, man, is like sometimes things will bite you in the ass and you have no control over. And it's sorry, game's over. The appeals court had just ruled, while we're doing this like in our local circuit court, right? There was a similar situation that had just went to an appeals court where a guy was trying to sue the other side's attorney. And basically the appeals court said, because you didn't follow proper administrative channels first and you moved straight to litigation, you're basically wasting the court's time. And so they said, no, you're like, it's out. That is what got us. My attorney didn't know that was going on simultaneously, so I kind of gave him a pass. But at the same time, when it got to the judge in this small town, the judge is like, I'm friends with him. I go to the church of the people that are trying to buy it. Basically told the junior person, find a reason that we don't have to take this to trial. So that they came back to us and they said, hey, you didn't file an administrative complaint. We argued, hey, the administrative complaint couldn't have awarded us damages like we wanted, but nonetheless, whatever the judge says goes. Right. So we basically got home courted, as he told me. And at the time, my attorney, Steve, he goes, DJ, just look at it this way. At least this happened on a $500,000 deal instead of a $500 million deal. And so now you know the mistake not to make. And at the time, I wanted to take him out in the fucking parking lot and have a conversation with him. But now that I'm older, I'm like, yeah, man, it was good lessons to learn.
No, you know what? It's like one of those things where it's like you take that as, hey, you know what? You're right. You're speaking into my future. Hey, I'm going to learn this lesson now because this is small and I'm thinking much bigger, and you see it. Right. Yeah. And so it's, again, doesn't take away the sting in the moment. But it's one of those things, like I believe, hey, God doesn't give you stuff that's bigger than what you can handle, right? But these are those lessons, guys, for all of our listeners, right? It's like learn from DJ's mistake so you don't make something similar, right? I know this is part of the conversations that we have on our podcast and just in networking in general is, hey, look, if I can glean something, if I can take away something from somebody who's literally maybe just a step further down the road than I am, then that's super, super valuable. So in this conversation, if that saves somebody else, not only the legal issue, the legal challenges, because that, of course, then that's time, that's energy, man. You could be, instead of spending time in court, hey man, I could be out starting another business, right? I could be going to some more real estate. What kind of stress does that put on my marriage and my relationships, my family and all that kind of stuff? Yep. If you just spend a little bit of time, a little bit of energy, a little bit of resources up front to avoid some of this, hey, that is money and resources well spent. I appreciate you being vulnerable and kind of sharing that.
Man, anything I can do to help entrepreneurs, man. That's my coach Carroll. That's my personal brand. It's what I've been building for almost a decade now. That's why I write the books. That's why I do the YouTube videos. That's why we hop on podcasts. My mission, man, is to elevate and educate entrepreneurs all across the globe. If my losses can then help other entrepreneurs skip those, I'm paving the same path that my mentors paved for me, right? I call it the Lieutenant Dan method. You ever watch Forrest Gump, right? Lieutenant Dan's got no legs and he's in a wheelchair. Yeah. I say, hey man, there's the field, right? And on the other end of that field is success. And so I want to find all the old dudes that done blew their legs off stepping on the mines and say, hey, Lieutenant Dan, where did you step at out there? And so this is Coach Carroll telling you guys where I stepped at, and make sure that your paperwork's right and you got plenty of attorneys.
Yeah, no, I know there's value. I feel like I need to start a dedicated show, it's literally just called Struggle Sessions. Right. Because again, we all have them, right? And that's really where the gold is. But you failed forward, and obviously you're on to bigger and better things. And where did you go from there? What was the next step? Obviously, I could have left a sour taste in your mouth. You could have been like, you know what, screw this.
We syndicated the real estate deals after that, obviously knowing what my paperwork needed to look like and have attorneys draft and all of that. I went on to build Carroll Media. So for the past decade, we've been working with some of the top State Farm and Farmer agents all across the U.S., helping them build and grow their social media brands. And then here recently, hopped on ChatGPT back in November of 2020, right when it came public. And I said, holy smokes, man, I've been making content a long time. If this thing can help me automate some of the content process, that's a huge lift. And so I said, make me an image of a family standing in front of a house. And as it loaded down the screen, their faces were melting and their fingers were long and skinny. And I was like, all right, it's not there yet. But if you're taking notes, right? Yeah, write this one down. Technology is undefeated. Okay. And I knew that it eventually would get there. And so that's when I started seeing the writing on the wall. And I said, hey, in the future, I think small businesses are going to have AI employees doing some work in these companies. And so instead of just resting on our laurels as a marketing agency, I was like, we're going to get completely disrupted if we just sit here. And so we went to work, and that's when we built Allie. Allie is your first AI team member. She runs front office, engages on your social media, builds and manages your website, and then answers your phones. And those are all very high impact jobs in the business that oftentimes are given to low level, low skilled team members. And it's a perfect place for AI to be able to lift up a business. And so that's what my focus is on now, man. That's where all my money goes, all my time, effort, and energy. We're bootstrapped, so we've built it from the ground up, and it's not a go high level rapper, a chat GPT rapper like a lot of these guys have you see on the line, but we're pretty excited about it, and that's been my main focus. Because again, man, everything I do is just to help my people, man, which are entrepreneurs.
Yeah. And that's the cool thing is just a lot of the people, there's a lot of kind of fear porn in the market right now. Oh, AI is coming for your job. And that, you know what? I'll be honest with you, that is a legit concern. So what you can do as an entrepreneur, what you can do as an employee is, okay, hey, how can I leverage the tools of this, right? To make myself more productive, right? Because think of it as a jetpack, right? It's going to enable you to do more of what you're already doing better, right? If that can take something off of your plate, great, implement it. And then now that frees up mental space, let's say, for you to be more creative or to be more effective in whatever it is that you're doing, whether you're an employee or maybe you're an entrepreneur, you're an entrepreneur. Man, the tools are coming so fast, and the effectiveness of it. We're recording this early 2026. I can guarantee you by the end of 2026, there's going to be additional major landmark changes with the technology. Yeah. And so
yes, some of these models are growing 400% per quarter, like insane. And the adoption curve is massive, dude. So just to paint the picture, it took the internet as a whole, right? Internet browsers essentially is where this is measured from. To get to 700 million users, it took them 8 years.
Yep.
Facebook did it in 4. ChatGPT did it in 24 months. The adoption curve is massive. However, I think a lot of that statistic, the ChatGPT users, they picked it up in 2023, 2024, maybe early last year. And they're like, where should I get sushi? And it's, oh, here's your 3 restaurants. I don't get the hype about it, man. It's just basically a glorified Google search, but they want to charge me $20 a month. I'll just go back to Google. And you're like missing the whole boat, man. It's like there's so much more to it than that. And I would just encourage people, spend time on it. I've spent probably 1,200, 1,300 hours on ChatGPT. I've probably spent another 1,500 hours in Claude, mainly because that's how I edited my book. This was a 500-page manuscript that we whittled down to 260 pages of distilled information. And I used Claude and ChatGPT to do that because I'm dyslexic, dude. I was never supposed to write a book, right? And so what I love about these tools is it gives opportunity and accessibility to small business owners and to people and creators. And I'm just a pro-human, man. I think we're pretty good with tools, right? We did okay with the fire. Airplanes have been pretty solid. The internet did good. Oil, steel. For Pete's sakes, we all have nukes right now. We haven't launched them on each other, right? At the time of this recording,
I was going
to for the larger part, it's like, I think we do pretty good with tools, and I look at AI like it's another tool. And that's part of being the hunter, right? And having that hunter, the hunter head game is all about the mindset of a hunter, because in business, entrepreneurship, dude, 80% of, 80% of this game is right here, the 6 inches between your ears. It's 20% skill, will, and execution. The other is, do you want to get out of bed this morning and go fight that battle again, right? Because it's just, I got my butt handed to me yesterday. I don't know that I want to keep doing this. It's like, how long, I like to say, how long can you stay in the batter's box? And so that's what I wrote about in the book. Good. We use ChatGPT, man, and Claude as well to help edit that down. And it's amazing tools, man. Amazing time to be alive. My dad's 70 years old. He had an outhouse and now he's got an iPhone. What the hell?
No, that's actually, I think that's great. And I try to explain this to my kids very frequently because I'm like, okay, I'm coming up on 50 in a few years. And it's like the amount of change that I've seen in my near 5 decades of life on this earth. And my kids are relatively young, but they're effectively technology native, they're AI native. And it's like, I can't imagine what the next 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, what their next 50 years is going to look like. And it's going to look so incredibly different than what it looks like now. So for those of you, those of our listeners, hey, maybe you're like, I don't want to spend time on that AI thing. I'm telling you, you need to familiarize yourself, build some stuff with it. Think of it like how DJ is saying, hey, implement it, use it, just try it out, spend some time with it. You think of it as like a thinking partner, right? Don't necessarily just use it like you would Google or Yelp or something like that, right? It's so much more than that. But again, it's not going to take away your creativity. It's still going to boil down to how much effort that you're willing to put in. I love that. I love that what you said there about how much time, how long can you stay in the batter's box, right? Because again, this lets you stay in the batter's box a lot longer. Oh my goodness. It's such a time saver. It's so good.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying like, oh man, AI is the biggest thing since the internet. And I actually think it's the biggest thing since the airplane. Because if I want to go from Louisville to Denver, that's a 3-day drive. I got a 2.5-year-old and an 8-month-old. It's a 3-day drive, right? But I can get there in 3 hours on an airplane. That's what I see with AI, is it compresses time. And then what the most slept on thing is, if you're listening to this right now and you're ever like, yeah, man, I had an idea for an app one time, or man, if I could just like, if this software could do this and then that software could do that together, man, it would save me like 10 hours a week. For the last decade, we've been telling all the kids, if you want to be wealthy, if you want to make money, you want to be secure, go learn to code. Because if you can code, then you can create software. And if you can create software, you can make magic happen. None of that has changed. Just because the AI bots know how to code now does not mean that coding doesn't matter anymore. No, quite contrary. It means now that non-technical founders, non-technical people can download Claude Code and say, hey, I got an idea about an app. Here's what it is. And it might say, hey, you're going to have to go get me an API token from this place and that place and bring it back to me. But once it's got that, buddy, it can build stuff at lightning speed. And now not only can you build stuff yourself, it costs you next to nothing, right? Like when we developed the first application of Alley, dude, it was like we were getting quotes for $250,000. It's nuts. We're building features and shipping stuff weekly now. It's insane. And so I would just encourage people when these impacts happen, there are these K-splits in the economy. And so what I mean by that is like when the internet happened, all of these different pathways you could have went in life, then there's a line and the internet happens. And then there is a K-split, meaning the people that said, okay, cool, I'll figure out what email is and I'll build a website for my business. I'll figure out the internet. You continually, by and large, went up in net worth. Whereas the people that said no to the technological advance went down. My dad was one of those guys. He never made more than $20 an hour in his life. He never had an email account. And he was always just, computers, I don't get it, right? And it's like, it was long-term detrimental to his lifetime earnings and his net worth. We're at another one of those inflection points to where if you say, AI don't need it, it will be to the long-term detriment of your net worth. I truly believe that.
Yeah, no, I think that's actually a great point. And the awesome thing is that right alone, literally what you just said, provides an opportunity today for so many people that feel like, oh man, I'm always going to be a renter, right? I'm never going to be able to have a house, right? I'm never going to be able to build a life. No, this provides an opportunity for that, but you got to be willing to step into the ring, because if not, it's just going to pass you by. This is a K-shaped economy, right? And you're absolutely right. No, thank you for highlighting that, because guys, there's so much potential out there right now. Don't sleep on it.
Don't be the victim. You just said I see this with Gen Zers, man. I talked to a ton of them and they're like, oh, the American dream's dead, man. I'm never going to be able to buy a house. I'm never going to be able to be rich. It's like, that's gone. That was for the millennials. They're the last one. It's like, yeah, if that's how you wake up and think your day's going to go every single day, you're exactly right. It's the self-fulfilling prophecy. And I would tell you that's the difference between a hunter versus the hunted, right? The hunter knows that he has a sad story too, right? But he doesn't care. He's resilient. He still goes out and hunts. He still adapts to new tools. He still changes as the game changes. If you want to be a victim, good luck, man, because the world that we live in does not reward that very well.
You know what the crazy thing is, I'm glad we're talking about this. And again, I don't want to say it's unrelated, because it's totally related, right? Like, if you're listening to this, chances are you're likely not a victim. But if you just happen to come across a conversation between DJ and I get it. It's easier to be a victim. It is. And it just is. But it's because it's going to take work for you to not be a victim. Right here, this is where it starts, right? It's like mindset, and then that will manifest into you doing and taking action, right? But I can tell you, it's so much more rewarding to know that you actually did something about it, right? You will feel better for it. You're going to be a better person for it. If you've got kids, hey, guess what? This kind of stuff doesn't stay isolated to you, right? And I've been a big advocate about this. I grew up in poverty. My dad left our family, right? We grew up on government assistance, didn't have anything, right? Didn't even think it was possible to own a house for myself until I was 30 years old. You know what I mean? And now we have literally hundreds and hundreds, and we've owned well over 1,000 units across the country in multiple states, have traveled all over the world. And it's because, again, I chose to not be a victim, but that was a choice. So you, as a listener, you also have the choice, right? So what do you choose today? right? Do you choose to do something more about your life? Or do you choose to do something beyond yourself, to step out into the out of your comfort zone, right? To get into that scary place where it's like, hey, I might lose. Yeah, you might, but you might win. And to
Yeah.
just even just trying exercises that muscle. And I love you sharing your story. I love you teeing that up.
I like to say this, Steve, is like you really only have two options, and they're directly tied to if you're the victor or the victim, right? If you're the hunter or hunted. The hunter says, I will forgo short-term hard for long-term easy. The victim says, I'll take short-term easy for long-term hard, right? Because it is easy to be the victim until, man, because then you got to live that your entire life. And I would just encourage you, move. You're not a tree. You don't have to be the same ever again after today. Hopefully this wakes somebody up and motivates them to go out there and chase their dreams. And if you're already woken up motivated, then hopefully I just fired you up a little bit. Now you're really ready to go get it.
There you go. There you go. DJ, I want to give you a little bit of time too. Let's talk about your book. I know you just come in, it's a new release. I know you're just coming off some book tours and whatnot. Fill us in a little bit about your story with the book and what you got going on with that.
Yeah, so I've been working on it for about 10 years. And like I said, we used AI to edit it down. We actually just got picked up the other day. I got a notification. We got picked up in Barnes & Noble, so that was pretty cool. Awesome. But the old world rewarded obedience. The new world demands killer instincts. I think that we're at a place where going to school, getting a job, staying there for 30 plus years is no longer actually the safest path. With AI, I think in the next 36 months, entrepreneurship is going to go from a nice to have to the last resort, right? Last door open. Because if you're 55, 57 years old, 60 years old, you're thinking you're in your last few years, and now all of a sudden you weren't planning to retire yet, and you just got your walking papers. What are you going to do? You're going to go across town to the same company and the same competitor? No, they're probably automating that job as well now. And so your job has been eliminated. And I think one of the things that motivate me the most about being a cheerleader for entrepreneurs, if you will, is that I think by the end of this decade, man, the term proprietor is going to come back around, right? When you start your first business, typically when you fill out your paperwork, right, it's a sole proprietorship. But we don't talk about that. You never hear anybody say that. But that's how the economy used to work, man. It was like you were a sole proprietor of a trade or of goods. And for me, I don't want to see people getting stuck selling mangoes on the side of the road, right? It's like, I'm not here to scream or, like you said,
that happens here.
Like, it's like, right. It's like, it's not to panic you. It's to prepare you that if you're in one of those positions right now, you could be in trouble. If you're past that and you're already an active real estate investor and you're doing well and you're taken care of, dude, kudos for you. You are now living in the best era that we ever have had. Allie, her whole stick is that I know voice is massive. The AI voice space is going to be huge because it's infrastructure. Not having to answer your phones ever again. What? That is crazy. That is just crazy talk. And being able to automate. Part of the lessons that I teach in here is if you're going to be a top level hunter, you got to use the tools that are available to yourself. That's why the Indians didn't win, right? We showed up with guns and it was like, it's I know, trust me, I've gotten tons of hate in the comments. Like, that's factually inaccurate. So I was like, all right, whatever, bro. But it's
hey, I'm Native American, man, or I'm part Native American. I don't condemn you.
Perfect. I'm pretty sure I got some Indian somewhere down the family bloodline as well. Who knows? But we're all human. It's all one species, man. We're all one human race here together. But you got to adapt to the tools that are around you. And then the other thing is just it's being an entrepreneur, man. It's 80% a head game. And I put the frameworks and the strategies and stuff that's in there. You guys can go to coachcarroll.com, get a copy of it. I also built an AI companion so that you can literally chat with the book, which is pretty cool. But yeah, man, I was excited. This has been fun. This time flew by. I was like, holy smoke, just look at my calendar. I'm like, are we already almost out of time? Holy man.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you. And like I said, I love talking to people who have been around for like different industries, right? Because a lot of people, okay, hey, I'm going to stick to one lane. Right. But it's okay. Once you start getting outside of that, again, this is talking about getting outside of that comfort zone. You really, again, you start to experience things that you wouldn't otherwise. And then the more that you get outside of even your circle of influence, now you get to start to glean from those people's experience as well. And so it can really fast track your learning. So again, getting into the headspace of, let's say, you pick up DJ's book. Okay, great. He's going to share experience and things that you didn't know about, right? Our conversation here. And I would always encourage other people too, go network, go get outside of your own comfort zone, go meet some new people, go try something new. What's the worst thing that's going to happen to you? Like nothing.
But I've never been hurt by a no. It's one of my favorite sayings in sales. I've never been hurt by a no. And I'll tell you, man, a lot of my success, I'm 37 now, like a lot of my success, like being worth millions of dollars, like it wouldn't have happened if I wouldn't have networked and got in rooms. And in my 20s, dude, I was like every single night, now my wife, but at the time my girlfriend, like we were like dinner out. Where's the networking event? We are going, we're going to find some people and we're going to go to dinner with them. And some of those relationships are still there. Some of them are like, hey, there's nothing here anymore. Cool. Like you can cut people out of your life. That's okay. You don't have to hold on to them forever. But I think that whole saying of like, it's so cheesy. It's like your network is your network. Like it's real, man. And the real stick to that a lot of people don't teach you is, do you introduce your network or does your network introduce you? Meaning that there's two types of entrances to a room. There's the entrance where you come in and people say, who is that? And there's the entrance where you come in and then you say, oh, there you are. And everyone's, oh, that's that guy, right? It's, if you can get to that point where you have that network, man, I can't tell you how many deals I look at a year that most of them I say no to now, but it's like, people just bring me deals. They're like, hey, dude, I know you're always looking. Here you go. It's cool. You never know what's going to cross your desk. And I love it, man. It's real estate's great. It's not a get rich quick game. It's a get rich for sure game. And so if you're investing, you're in the right space, you'll be okay. It's made more millionaires than anything else out there. But we'll see after this AI wave if that's still true.
Yeah, no, for sure. Again, I still think just where we are with our economy, the amount of money that they're going to be printing and that they will continue to have to do. It's okay. If you're holding on to hard assets, it's a pretty safe bet. You put everything out on a long enough timeline in that kind of instance, you win. You use the business, hey, buy some hard assets, buy some precious metals, some real estate, own your castle, right? And you'll be in good shape. But disappointed in our show, DJ, where we have our fire round, just a little bit more rapid fire Q&A. Is that something you're up for?
Yeah, let's do it.
Right on. Awesome. All right. First question. What is your favorite book recommendation outside of your own? What's your, do you have some go-to books that you recommend when people
a lot of people know Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, but they don't know Outwitting the Devil. Outwitting the Devil is a fantastic book, especially if you get it on audiobook. It's super fun.
Yes. I would say definitely do the audio because hearing the voice
of the devil.
Yes,
it's crazy. It's a fun listen. I also think that, so it is fire round. So that would probably be my book that I would recommend because not a lot of people know about it.
Yep. Right on. Very cool. All right. Next question. What would you consider your superpower to be besides infectious positive energy, man? I can just feel you. It's just radiating off of you.
Yeah, what would you consider that all the time? They're like, your energy, man. Where's it? I'm like, dude, it comes through me, not from me. That's how I know I'm operating in my higher frequency, higher powers. I would say my gift is the ability to connect and be present. I think that's something that is not common with millennials or Gen Z. It's like I get aggravated, man. I go to lunch meetings or something with people that are my age and I'm like, they just check on their phone constantly. I have all my notifications turned off. My phone doesn't ring. It doesn't buzz. It doesn't do anything, which is a huge life hack, by the way. You want to drastically increase your mental health. It's like silence all the notifications on your phone and you'll thank me for that later. But I think just being able to look somebody in the eye, man, and connect and be authentic. I am who I am. You get me? And if you don't like me, that's totally okay. But I will not water myself down for you.
There you go. No, I love it, man. Being comfortable in your own skin, connecting. Yeah, I love that. That's very good. Yeah, that was one of the best things that we ever did was talking about cutting out the distractions. We don't have a TV. Haven't had a TV in probably 8 years. Some people just always have it on. And I'm like, you know what? I choose what goes into my ears, what goes in front of my eyes. It affects you big time.
That's cool.
All right. Next question. If you had a time machine and you could go back and visit 20-year-old DJ, what advice would you have for him?
She ain't worth it, bro. No, I'm just joking. 20-year-old DJ. Holy smokes, man. Life will test you, but the tests don't come from God. They come from Satan. And so stay focused on the path that is before you and the gifts that you've been given.
Awesome. Thank you for that, brother. All right. Next question. For the busy working professional, somebody's out there, they're trying to work towards financial freedom. What advice would you have for them?
Don't beat yourself up, man. I was really rough on myself in my late 20s because I'm like, I shouldn't have bought all this stuff that I had a lot of fun with and I should have been investing more. And but like, I think those life experiences, those lived experiences, now that I'm getting closer to 40, I'm like, you know what, that like $13,000 motorcycle or that like $20,000 boat that I was like in my 20s, I'm like, I could have a down payment on another house. I'm like, yeah, okay, for what? An extra couple $1,000s a year or like appreciation in the asset? To me, man, that's why I think entrepreneurship is so powerful. If you have the ability to go to the marketplace and extract money, that's the challenge like that I have with real estate is like, it's capital intensive, right? It takes a long time. And like, like you can't just buy one rental house and retire and now you're a gazillionaire. It doesn't work like that, right? And so for me, like being able to sell it like I think is like one of the like best skills that I learned. So sorry, I got on a tirade there. I don't even remember what the damn question was, but
that's good. That's again, that's for the busy working professional. It's like,
man,
that was the question was for them, but that's so applicable to them too. You know what I mean? It's okay. Look, if you're a busy working professional, especially now, going back to our conversation about AI, you may not be a very busy working professional for long, depending on your job. So, hey, go out there and try some stuff out. Yeah, diversify your skill set, skill stack. And there's so many different things that you can go better.
Man. Tomorrow's not promised. I like literally my dog just passed away like while we were on tour and it was rough. Dude. He was only like 8 years old. I thought we had a lot more time with him and you just never know, man. Life is very fickle and live it while you're here. It's also like my last speaking engagement, we just got back from Vegas, was like a big 500 person conference. And it's like you see these 70-year-old people on the strip in their walkers. And I'm like, that's not when I want to come enjoy Vegas, right? I don't want to save my entire life to then come to Vegas when I'm on oxygen. No, I want to hang from the rafters at the Omnia nightclub and pop some bottles. That's way more fun, right? And so it's like, I think, man, don't take yourself too seriously. Don't take life too seriously. And enjoy the ride on the way up and it'll all be fine.
Love it. Love it, brother. If our audience wants to reach out to you, man, they want to connect with you, they want to pick up the book, if they want to, what's the best channels for them to do that?
Yeah, you can go to coachcarroll.com and coach, like you spell coach, Carroll, Carroll. I'm not Pete Carroll. Like that dude, he steals all of my SEO juice every time the football season rolls around. And then he retires from the Seahawks. And I'm like, sweet, he's out. And then the Raiders bring him back. And I'm like, you're kidding me, man. If you see like an old white-haired guy that chews gum on the sidelines, that's not me. I would much rather my hair turn white than turn loose, but it didn't work out that way. And it's bald and beautiful. But yeah, connect with me online, coachcarroll.com. And I always just say, man, if you want me to coach you, it costs you nothing more than a like or a follow on one of my social media channels. And I'll be there in your corner, putting out content every single day. Link to the books on there, link to Ally, our AI platform. You can check that out as well, hireally.com. And yeah, man, can't say how much I appreciate you for bringing me on. And to your listeners, if they haven't left you a review or subscribe to the podcast, what are you guys doing, man? Go help Steve out. Let's get this thing in front of more people. Appreciate you having me on, man.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate you coming on and sharing a ton of experience, knowledge, and awesome energy. I definitely appreciate you. We'll have to circle back with you. And honestly, I would love to circle back with you in the future to see, man, what are you doing now with AI, right? Because again, just knowing that the landscape is changing. Hey, 6 months from now, a year from now, I'd love to see. So yeah, we'll circle back with you in the future and we'll have you back on. But I appreciate you, DJ. Have an amazing day and aloha.
Thanks, man.
All right. Awesome conversation with DJ Carroll, Coach Carroll. Make sure you guys go check him out. He's got his book out. So pick up a copy. Obviously, tons of experience. And I love that. I love talking to people who have been in the trenches, who are not just talking about what could be, but he's actually out there taking swings, trying stuff out. And it's really the only way that you will learn. So hopefully you guys found value in that conversation with DJ. So make sure you, again, go support him, check him out. And you'll be better off for it. But if you guys are interested in connecting with us, you can go to tricityequity.com. You can learn more about our company and different projects that we've done and maybe have a conversation to see if that's something we can help you. If you're wanting to connect here locally on island, we have meetups every month. We've got another one coming up. So excited for that. We'd love to put a face to the name, meet some new people, share some wins, share some losses, share some stories, and see how we can best work with each other. If nothing else, just to encourage and widen out the network. And I know DJ gave the plug, but if you guys haven't liked, if you haven't subscribed, I don't know what you're doing. Make sure that you do that. We greatly appreciate it. It's the only way that we know that you guys are finding value in the podcast, value in the show, is if we get that feedback from you guys. We greatly appreciate you and helping us to grow the channel. But we'll catch you on the next episode. Go out, take some action, and we'll see you in the next one. Aloha.